Hello again, everyone, and how are we tonight, or today, this afternoon, or this evening? It is hoped that we are okay, whichever corner of the world that we are. And we're going to be doing our first official video, and we will be starting off with parenting. We are living in a wonderful world with many different challenges. And as parents, we are tasked with the responsibilities of guiding our children and taking the best care of them as we can. And then, against that background, we have different ways in which we do parent. Each parent may have a different way of guiding their children or their child. And this evening, we are going to really explore or look at different ways in which we do go about parenting our children. Now, there are a number of different parenting styles that are available or that's out there, but tonight we're going to be focusing on four major types. All right, and then we're going to see, I'd like a feedback as to what parenting style you employ or use and how do they work. Is it very effective for you? Do you think you need to make changes? So we have, as I said, we have different types of family of parenting. We have authoritative, we have authoritarian, we have permissive, and we have uninvolved. Now, these are just the four that we will be focusing on. And as you go along, I ask that you really examine and see which of these categories that you may fall in. Now, one general thing, and do know that all of us as parents, we do love our children and we want the best for them. All right, so let's talk about these issues or parenting, as we say. So let's start off with authoritarian parents. Now, authoritarian parents, I think the word would sell itself. It is the way that the they parent their children by just giving orders. Right, so you lay down the rules, the children, they have no room to say yes, no, or no question asked. It is just what I say. There is no explanation for why the child was given anything. If there's a mistake, then the child is punished for that. Right? Normally, these parents, they do less nurturing. That is, nurturing in that, you provide comfort, your children feel loved, your children feel accepted. But within the same breath, you have a very high expectation. You are expecting so much from them. And may I say, probably give so little. Now, let us look at children that is brought up under this type or this style of parenting. Of course, these children are well behaved because of the consequences, of course, of what will happen if they do not conform to that which their parents, the rules that the parents have set. They are better able to achieve their goals because, again, of the consequences of not living up to the expectation of the parents. All right. Now, let us look on the flip side of this. These children, they may be very shy and their level of aggression is very, very high. They have low self-esteem and they are very incapable of making some decisions. And we if we look closely at that, it goes without saying is because the parents are always in control. Now, I think those of us who were brought up within a certain era, we are of the impression that the parents are in total control and what they say goes, and what they say go, and you can't question. You're not permitted to question anything that has been said. All right, so as a parents, we're going to leave that one That is authoritarian right there. Now let's move along. The second one is authoritative. Now this is a bit different from authoritarian in that you have a close bond with your child. It is about nurturing, that is, you're there for the child, you give love, you give support, there is understanding, there's mutual respect. The child is free to say what respectfully, what's on their mind. Now they're given expectation are laid out for these children. Okay, what is it that we are expecting of you? As children or as parents, normally we, in the back of our heads, we are thinking that children normally they know what to do. That is just, I think it is something that we just go off the back of our heads and we said, yes, they should know. You should. How many times do we hear parents say that shouting, you should know? Right? No, some of these children, they don't know. Is it that the rules were established? Is it that you see that these are the clear guidelines? And parents, come on, if you should look and you say, really? If you're at work, for example, you would appreciate getting clear guidelines, right? And outside of that, you really don't know what are the parameters in which you should act. And so it is the same thing that goes for these children. And remember that these children, they are not adults. They're just children. Their minds are not developed to that stage where they can think as parents, as adults can. And as much as sometimes they come off as being so big and they know everything, no. Always remember that they are still children. All right? All right, so when we say expectation, and that is, I want you to please remember that expectation is a very crucial aspect of growing our children. Not only that when these expectations are being made or expected, the children there should be clear dialogue between parents, children, and of course you have to look at age. Talk about these things with your children. Don't just shout at them and just push them away, because this is the language that you're communicating to them. And this is saying to them, if that's the way you communicate to them or with them, this has now become a normal way of life for them. And so outside of the premise of home, they are now going to be thinking that you shouting, it's the done thing or it's the correct thing. So you have to model, you have to do what you want them, who you want them to be. You are their first teachers. Parents, we are our children's first teachers. So we model the behavior. We do what we want them to do. Now, so there should be open communication between the child or children and their parents. When we have parents, authoritative parents, your children are more responsible, because you have fostered that part of them, that skill set in them, that they are able to make some basic decisions. Okay, so let's take, for example, if your child name is Kevin, and I'm just using a name, today, what would you like to do today? What would you like to wear today? So you don't always choose something for them. And as I said, these are just examples, age-related things that you can give the child a say in. What would you like to wear? And don't always just choose something for them. So or you give them little chores within the household to do. So it builds their confidence. They become very responsible. They are self-regulated. They know what to do over time. Their emotional relationship with other people, it is developed because you would have set just the basic parameters and allow them to grow. And it is giving them, these children they are more independent. So they don't always depend on you, because they are given chores, they're given small tasks within the household to do, and it helps them to be a better person. Right? So, and they tend to do much better in school. Much, much better in school. Let us look at permissive parenting. And I wish I had the opportunity to have you've just giving me a ready feedback. Permissive. Permissive parent, you provide warmth, or warmth is provided. There is some amount of nurturing, just a bit, and there is absolutely or no, little or no expectation, right? You don't really expect much. There is nothing much to it. Parents allow children to kind of figure out things on their own. You have to figure out what is going on. So children are less more like, you kind of do what you do. Parents may intervene, but on a lesser extent. And, it is like the relationship that is fostered between children and parents is like, we're just friend, buddy. So if I'm your buddy and, or if I'm your friend, it means that I can pretty much do as I feel. It depends on how honest or my value system, that if my friend does something wrong, I'm going to say, no, you shouldn't. And as parents, I will let you be the judge of that. Or probably in another segment, we can look at that. Is it okay for your child to become your friend? So children, let us look at even their eating habits. They can pretty much choose what they want. And if a child is left just to choose whatever they want, and you as an adult have little or no input on that, they're going to just eat what they like, right? No freedom on when there is bedtime, when there is homework to be done. Parents may interject if the assignment is done. What are some of these things? What is the implication? How does this affect the overall performance of a child? They will have some sort of self-esteem, but as you know, and some sort of social skill, because they are pretty much left to do things on their own. But the downside of that is that these children, they tend to be very selfish. They're very demanding. And they're self-regulated. So I can do anything when I want to do, because that is what they have been cultured into. All right, let's just move on to the last one that we'll be looking at tonight. Parents who are completely uninvolved, and I think that one speaks for itself. You are not involved by any means in your child's life. There's little or no expectation. The child can just do whatever it is that they want to do. And the child, they can easily bounce back from a lot of things. And we know, because of what they have to figure out a lot of things on their own. So they would have experimented with a lot of things. And of course, because they would have been developed in that area, some amount of they're self-sufficient. They don't really need you, because after a period of time doing things over and over. What is the drawback of this type of parenting? We are going to have academic or school where they're not going to be able to function properly in school. And we would know, if we make the linkage between home and school, if at home my parents are not involved, so there is no type of structure, then when a child leaves home, outside of that border of home, within the home, no structure. School is a structured place. How then will the child be able to function within structure? So I'm going to leave that to you and to determine how that will work out. This is our first video. I'd like to have a feedback. What type of parenting you are, and to just be honest, and some of the things, what you see playing out within the context or within the type of parenting style that you have used. Of the 4 that we have looked at, which is authoritarian, authoritative, permissive, uninvolved, which do you think is most effective, regardless of what research is saying? You within your own self, which one do you think? And to what extent a child should really have a say within the household? As usual, I'm your host, Perrin. I want to thank you so much for your time as I look forward so that we can engage at another time, wherever you are in the world. Be it night, be it morning, be it afternoon, or be it evening, right across the globe. Peace, love, and only happiness. This is your host, Perrin.